boys and girls. It's Miss Sue, Wizard of Curiosity. Thank you for joining us so far for our summer reading program. I hope you're enjoying all of the programs, Mother Goose, Miss Sherry, Miss LeBeau with Gnomes and Fairies, and Miss Linda with Famous People on Tuesdays. We have so much packed and planned for you, and we're having so much fun doing this for you that we really hope that you're taking advantage of everything. And thank you for checking in on the challenges, my Kindness Challenge, and I think Miss Sherry's going to be putting some challenges up, so thank you for joining us for those too. Remember that everything you need to do any of our programs is in the Snyder County Library, and it's called Imagine Your Story. And you can pick up a bag that will help you get started. It has all your supplies in it. For me, it has all of my potions so you can be ready when I do things on Monday morning. I'm really hoping you enjoy this because we really love it. Today, we're going to be making 2 things of dragon toothpaste. I know my dragon, he has some bad breath. So sometimes I need to make sure he has toothpaste. But have you ever seen a dragon's mouth? It's this big. And brushing those teeth is not always easy. So I'm going to show you 2 ways today that we can make it in case your dragon has bad breath and needs to brush his teeth. But first, we're going to continue with our story that we've been reading called Wizard and Wart. And remember, last week we talked about Mr. Wizard, who was semi-retired, and he bought a new house. And his faithful assistant, Wart, who is his dog that kind of helps him out. And then we have this little guy right here, and his name is Zounds. And Zounds kind of flies around and helps. So last week when we were there, he bought a house, and they had so much room, and they said, "Oh my goodness, we have so much room to do hocus pocus." And they waited. We can help people. And they waited. And then finally they decided, you know what our problem is? We're not advertising. So what they decided to do is advertise, and they went up on the roof and they wrote in the sky, "Wizard and Wart, now open. We fix problems." And that's where it left us last week. So I thought this week, let's read another chapter as they get their first client. Wizard and Wart. Chapter 2, you guessed it, the first client is a snake. Early the next morning, there was a knock at the door. Wart opened it and looked high, then low, then lower, and there was a snake. "My name is Floyd," he said. "I'm a snake," Floyd said. "You hate being a snake?" Wizard said. "Who could blame you?" "I like being a snake," said Floyd, "but I'm in love with a rabbit." Look at this. Look at this guy. He's all worried. He's sitting on that chair. "I want you to turn her into a snake." "That is a rotten idea," said Wizard. "It is a great idea. She would make a great snake. I can see it in her eyes. Sounds risky, said Wizard. It is true love. Uh-oh. There's Zounds flying around. Here's Wizard. Here is Wart. Wizard looked worried, but he hocused and he pocused and he sang, two-toed rumps and a kangaroo all will make a tasty stew. Good grief, said Wart, and he turned green. Wizard thinks this is a bad idea. Wart thinks it's a bad idea. But that little snake, he's in love. And so he wants his girlfriend, his rabbit, to be a snake. Well, Wizard gave him the potion and said, go on your way. That should do the trick, said Wizard. Thanks, Floyd said. You won't be sorry. I think I'm going to be sorry, said Wizard. I'm almost sorry, said Wart. And there they are, saying goodbye to the snake as they just cast a spell. That's it for today, but I'm telling you, I wonder how that spell's going to work out. Changing a snake into a lizard? I don't know about that, boys and girls. Well, I'm going to tell you something right now. We're going to make a potion. We're going to make our dragon toothpaste. I have in the packet all the things that you'll need, but just in case, I'm going to go through. As I go, I'll tell you how much you need of each thing. So the first one, we're going to do 2 experiments, and we're going to compare which one works better. So for the first experiment, I have some warm water in here, okay? And I am going to take a little yeast, and usually I try to put in kind of a big teaspoon, you know, and I'm going to put that in my warm water, and I'm going to stir that up until it dissolves. And once that dissolves, I'm going to pour that into my bottle, and all I have here is a 16-ounce water bottle that I washed out. Okay, so I'm getting that. It doesn't get clear, don't expect it to get clear, but just so it's nice and it's mixed up a little. Sometimes it takes a minute. You'll still have a few lumps, but that yeast is working in there. Then I'm going to take my funnel and I am going to pour this right into my bottle. See, this is what it kind of looks like. It's all right. And I'm going to pour that right in. Okay? Once I do that, oh, I should have rinsed this out. I'll do that here. I'm going to take, in my bottle, I'm going to put a little food coloring, because I know toothpaste, my toothpaste is blue, sometimes it's white, sometimes it's even red, but we're going to make blue toothpaste today. So I'm going to put a couple drops of blue food coloring. And then I'm going to put a little squirt of dish soap. Now, if you've been with me before, there are certain things that are good reactors when we make a potion or an experiment. And we've used our dish soap before and we've seen what it does. So, wow, I have a feeling it's going to do something today. Once I do that, I'm going to take, and this is the part that you really, really need to make sure that your moms or dads help you with, is I'm going to put some hydrogen peroxide. Some people say a half a cup. I don't know. I fill it about that far, and then I'm going to see what it looks like. And then everybody, I need to push everything back because I've got to have the process of the toothpaste somehow. So I'm going to get my funnel again. I'm going to pour my concoction of hydrogen peroxide. You know, I have to tell you before I do this, I know, suspense. When I was little, because I thought to myself, what do you use hydrogen peroxide for? When I was little, my mom didn't use disinfectant or anything except Bactine, but that stung. When it was another cut, she would take a little bit of hydrogen peroxide and we put it on the open cut to clean it off, and it would bubble, and we couldn't wait to see that. So it's kind of magical in its own way. It's a little dangerous. You don't want to use it too much, but you can use it safely in this experiment. All right. Are we ready? Uh-oh. Uh-oh, here comes our toothpaste. It's forming, it's getting up there. Come on, keep going, little fella. See our toothpaste? Here it comes. Here it comes out the top. Yay! He's slowing down. See how it's coming out? And the more it comes out, and you can use more reactor, more hydrogen peroxide, more yeast, and it'll come out a little bit and it bends over. Isn't that cool? And it looks just like toothpaste. I hope my dragon likes it. If not, too bad. He still has to use it and brush his teeth. Now, if you don't have hydrogen peroxide, I'm going to show you a different way. Talk amongst yourselves. Sorry about that. I forgot I had 2 things of water, but I don't. So the first thing I told you in the second potion to make sure you have a bowl. So I'm going to put a little bit of warm water in there. And you guessed it, some of my yeast. And I'm going to mix that all up just like I did before to hopefully, I think probably because of time we didn't get a chance to really dissolve it. And I think that will also make it kind of ooze out a little bit more, or more of an explosion, they say. But we're just going to do it this way. Okay? So so far we're just using the same ingredients, and it still looks kind of soupy. Has a few lumps in it, and if you stir it longer, the yeast will dissolve and it might even work better. I don't know, but we really don't have time for that today. Here I am pouring and everything in my potions. So once I have this, I am going to take my yeast and warm water solution, and I have a jar here. I have a wide mouth jar because my potion specifies it, but I think if you used an empty soda bottle like I did for the first one, it would also work. So hopefully it works. We want to see which one works better. So here you go. Here's an open mouth one. And I'm going to pour my yeast solution right in there. Okay. I'm still going to use a squirt of my dish soap. I'm going to try to see if that reacts more. And I'm going to use a little food coloring. Let's keep it blue. Why not? More of that too. I have a bigger container. I want a bigger thing of toothpaste. And instead of the hydrogen peroxide as a reactor, and we've been working on that word, boys and girls. Remember we said in order to have any kind of a fabulous thing like, an explosion or a fizzy thing or an oozy thing like we're doing, you need to have something that will react with very base material. So what we're going to do is I have about, I'm going to pour a little bit more. I have vinegar. I'm going to do about a whole half cup, maybe. Maybe I'll add more, I don't know. Let's see if the experiment works. You know how I am. Sometimes things work beautifully and sometimes they don't, but that's why they call them experiments. That's why we love, a good scientist loves to go back to the library and see if it works again. So now I'm going to pour this in and see if vinegar will be a good reactor for my dragon's toothpaste. Okay, things are happening. Not enough. Let's stir it and see if we can get a reaction. Little bit. It's got bubbles, a layer of bubbles, but not nearly enough of the oozing like we had with the other. So that's what happens. We try things, but I thought I'd try a different reactor instead of that in case you didn't have it at home. But you know what? It might work for you. Maybe trying something different. Maybe putting it in an empty soda bottle, which is smaller but the same ingredients, would be better. Maybe using more yeast or having the yeast dissolved more in the warm water before you put it in. Maybe a little more vinegar. You don't know. And that's the fun of science, is that sometimes everything works out and that's lovely, and sometimes it doesn't. You have the tools. I want you to try it yourself. Okay? So that's it for us this week, boys and girls. I'm hoping that you're following my kindness challenges. This week I posted that I think you should get in touch with an older person, like a grandma, grandpa, someone who lived a long time ago. And I have some questions to ask them. They like to talk about what happened in the past, and maybe you want to find out what were they like as children and so on. So take a look at those questions and make connections. It's a kind thing to do. Next week, we're going, since it's in honor of fireworks and the 4th of July, we're going to be doing things that are spectacular and including fireworks in a jar. Fireworks in a jar. So if you don't get there this year, you can do it right at home. And the ingredients are very simple. Please pick up a packet. If you want to get ready, it's a jar, water, oil, food coloring, bowl, dish soap, same old stuff. It's all stuff you have. All right. Go out there and have some experiments and some adventures and be kind. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.